again with another Furio Watchers video. This one all about the great MC and producer Large Professor, aka Extra P. Been in the game a long time, known for making his beats on an EMU SP1200 sampler, was part of the group Main Source, great MC, great producer. He's worked with a lot of big people during his career. He's also appeared on the Rhythm Roulette series on YouTube. If you've not checked that, definitely look that up, give that a listen. So this video, I'm just going to be showing a handful of some of his best productions during his time. Reminder again, 5 years since I dropped my very first album on Bandcamp. So for a limited period, I'm giving that album away for free. There's a link in description to view it, download it, keep it forever. I've got 6 albums out in total, so you can have a check of the others whilst you're on there. Anyway, let's jump in, let's listen to what the first track is. Michael Jackson sample there. Great use of 2 different parts of that track on Nas's debut album Illmatic. That album is still one of the standouts from that era, from the 90s. Absolutely amazing album, one I still listen to on a very regular basis. So I just like what he's done with the samples there. Chopped them up. One part of a vocal that's chopped up, other part more of a straight up loop, but really well use of a sample there. Let's see what the next one is.
Hey yo, swing, chop, chop. Yo, that's the sound when MCs get mocked.
Roy Ayers Ubiquity there. That was the name of his band that he put together in the 70s. Did 10 different albums. But Roy Ayers himself has done so many albums. He's very heavily sampled in hip hop. Some great tracks of his have been sampled. That Tribe Called Quest album, Midnight Marauders, another classic 90s album. The bulk of that album was produced by Tribe Called Quest. That particular track, not only did it feature Large Professor, but he's down as the solo producer on that particular track. So a lot of people think the whole album was a Tribe Called Quest. It actually wasn't. There's a few tracks on there produced by other different people. But really great track, that one.
I don't wanna ill, I just wanna chill and keep my hand around $100 bill.
Milt Jackson, absolute legendary jazz musician, put out nearly 100 different albums, worked with some greats as well. Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, many others. So that's one of Large Professor's own tracks. A few other people have also used that track to sample from that Milt Jackson. Pete Rock, CL Smooth have used it, De La Soul have used it. So it's a very popular track, that one, for sampling from. I just like how Large Professor's used that one though. Really upbeat track, head nodding track, definitely. So let's see what the next track is.
Don't walk, keep out, red light.
That one to me is absolutely genius sampling. He's taken that sample, filtered it right down to remove everything apart from the bass. If you do listen closely though, you can very faintly still hear the lyrics where it's saying, don't walk, keep out, red light. So maybe listen on headphones and you will notice those very faint vocals on there. But such an absolutely amazing sample, that one. It appeared on Nas's Illmatic album in '94, but on the Zebrahead soundtrack 2 years before that in '92. That's when that track was actually first released. So yet another collab between Nas and Large Professor.
chance to look and I take one glance. There's a man inside an ambulance. The crowds are getting louder.
The Fatback Band, been sampled quite a bit. One of my favourites is Most Def Mathematics, that's sampled from them. So this track, Large Professor's got a co-producing writing credit on this. It was one of his very first productions back in '90. I think the very first thing he did was for Eric B and Rakim. But in the same year, so one of his very, very earliest productions, this one. Kool G Rap and Polo, another great 90s group, put a few albums out together. And obviously Kool G Rap has also had his solo career still going today. So let's see the next one.
Come on, y'all, get live, get down. Common sense is in your town. I said, come on, y'all, get live, get down.
So Spirit, they were a rock group started in the late 60s in California, Los Angeles. Common Resurrection remix. He actually did 2 different remixes at the same time. He did that Extra P remix, and then he also did a Large Professor remix where he sampled David Axelrod. So I'm pretty sure I've shown that version of it on another video recently. In fact, I'm sure I have, because I mentioned that Common went originally by the name Common Sense, and then there was a reggae group also called Common Sense who sued him for copyright of that name, forced him to drop the sense off the end, and from then on it's just gone by the name Common.
One time for your mind, one time. Yeah, whatever. One time for your mind, one time. Yo, whatever. One time for your mind, one time. Hey, yo.
Jimmy Gordon and his Jazz and Pops band. One of the members of that band was Tom Scott, who's got a very famous sample. He was sampled on Troy, Pete Rock and CL Smooth. So yet again, another collab between Large Professor and Nas on his Illmatic album. He just managed to get some of the world's top producers at the time to put that album together for him. And I think that is why it stood the test of time so well. Some absolute classic tracks on there.
Crush, kill, destroy, stress. Crush, kill, destroy, stress. Crush, kill, destroy, stress.
Ronnie Law's Tidal Wave sample there. Been sampled quite a lot of times, that track. Probably another famous use of it is Black Moon, Who Got the Props. So the Organised Konfusion track, that was Pharaoh Monch's original crew with Prince Poe. Started off under the name Simply Two Positive MCs, and Pharaoh Monch was actually just a beatboxer in there. That changed, he became an MC, and then they did change the name to Organised Konfusion. The Large Professor remix there, he's completely changed the style of that track. If you listen to the original version of Stress, it's a really dark sounding track. He's completely flipped that around, made it into a really upbeat sounding head nodding track. So another example of his great production skills there. So let's check what the next one is.
What you need to do is give faith. Take your spiritual out your body, put it in a higher place. Cause I'ma bring out the Holy Ghost in niggas.
Carla Bley, jazz musician from Oakland, California. Done over 30 albums. Mad Skillz track, produced by Large Professor. Extra Abstract Skillz, so Extra P, which is Large Professor. Abstract, which is Q-Tip. And then Skillz, Mad Skillz. I really like some of the Mad Skillz stuff. I also like that he stopped doing the series now, but he did the wrap-up series on YouTube, where every year he would freestyle over the top of a beat, talking about all things that had gone on during that year, but real comedy style, absolutely ripping some of the people and some of the events that are taking place. A lot of you will have heard that, but if you've not, look up Skillz wrap-up series on YouTube. You won't be disappointed.
It's the N-O-N-P-H-I-X-I-O-N.
Bob James, what can I say? One of the most ever sampled people in hip hop music. Been used on so many different tracks, very, very famous tracks. The Non-Phixion track, again produced by Large Professor. Non-Phixion was the group that Ill Bill was in, one of many groups and crews that he was down with. Little more recent than some of the others, there have been mainly 90s samples so far. This one, 2002. Simple but good track.
Plan was to knock me out the top of the game, but I overstand they truth is all lame. I hold cannons that shoot balls of flame.
Ernest Gold, Austrian-born composer, was actually the first composer to have his name in a Hollywood Walk of Fame back in '75. Did lots and lots of different soundtracks during his career. This is another example of Large Professor and Nas still working together. So from his first album to this Stillmatic, which was his 5th album, this great track, You're the Man. Got another sample coming up next, which is also off the same track, You're the Man. So let's have a listen to that one.
Sugar man, won't you hurry? 'Cause I'm sugar man, sugar man, sugar man, sugar man.
Yeah, as it said on screen there, I really like the way he's cut that vocal. He's changed it from Sugar Man to You're the Man just by taking that first part of the word away. Works so well, and it's why I rate Large Professor highly as a great producer. Let's check the next one.
The bed tight since ice, precise rituals, stated out of Jacobs with the Fruit Loop jewels, holding the navy blue Uzi, crush grooving waves off.
Very different style that for the Large Professor. To me, that sounds more like that's a RZA production. The track obviously features 2 members of the Wu-Tang Clan on there, which is maybe why he's gone down that kind of route. But yeah, if I heard that track on its own, I would guess that the RZA is the producer of that one, not Large Professor. Works well, he's chopped the sample well, great fit for that track.
Lost Professor, your road dog. I roll small, sleet or hail to see that we prevail over this nonsense this world be bringing us. Still banging cuts.
Neek The Exotic grew up with Large Professor and lived in the same building that Nas did. He also featured on Main Source Faking the Funk, which Large Professor was a member of at the time. Great track, that one. I like how it's been chopped up. Nice, funky track. Works really well with that particular sample.
If the love don't work, what will money do? I'ma need that G pickup truck colored honeydew. Cantaloupe colored the interior.
Another great sample from David Axelrod. As I said, he's been used many, many times in hip-hop tracks. The LOX track as well. So that's Jadakiss, Styles P, Chic Louch. Much more recent track this. So just trying to show that Large Professor is still going strong to this day. Still putting out some great tracks after more than 30 years in the game. Absolutely amazing producer. So that's it. That's the end of this particular video. As I said at the beginning, this is just a handful of many, many tracks Large Professor has produced during his career. I just wanted to show some of the standout ones, some of my particular favourites. So, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. Again, download my free album I've got on Bandcamp. Check the others out whilst you're there, and thanks for watching.